So please tell me that when you're like talking, do you tune yourself out? Because sometimes I tune myself out and then I like come back and I'm like, oh, you're still talking, but I have no idea what I have been saying. Hey guys, thanks for coming back to check out another video. So I just want to first just quickly say that I used to get these like inappropriate like comments on my videos like, hey, check out this website for like a fun time, or those kind of like those bot comments. So I started to, when I would upload a video, I would click the hold potentially inappropriate comments so that those things would stop. And then I didn't really think about it. And then last night, I got an email from YouTube that Laura had commented on a video, but it's not showing up. And so I like messaged her about it, like, where'd your comment go? Like, that's kind of weird. And she was like, oh, maybe it's like held for review or like held for spam. And like a light bulb clicked. And so I went and checked, still can't find her comment. So YouTube is just like, I don't know, throwing shade at her for some unknown reason. But what I did find was that there is a ton of comments in there that aren't like inappropriate in any way. And they're just like, a lot of them are really sweet. Like, hey, I do this project pan too. Or like, hey, I really like your vibe in your channel. And I just want to apologize that like if you have commented and it hasn't like shown up, like I just feel really bad is what I'm trying to say, because there's no reason for that. So going forward, I'm going to try to do a much better job about checking that little like held for spam, held for, review purposes area of YouTube. And hopefully that will not like continue to be a thing. So, okay, without any further rambling though, what are you here for today in today's video? I just thought it would be fun if we just looked at all of the pan that I have in my collection, because don't you just like seeing that sometimes? I do. I like these types of videos. I'm not going to do eyeshadows though. So I did back in June of this year a collab with Laura, Kailee, and Nat. And it was going over like all of the eyeshadows we've hit pan on from January 2020 until we filmed it in June. And so I'm assuming that we will do like a roundup finale of that at the end of the year, maybe like end of December or January 2021. Even if it's not a collab, like I'll still update that for like myself personally. So I will link that down below in case you want to look at some eyeshadow pan, because that's always fun. But this is just like face products. So I was like thinking about it, I've like ended some project pans because I said like I'm just kind of like unhappy, like I just don't know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And it mainly boils down to because a lot of my collection just doesn't look loved. It just doesn't look touched. And I think part of that is me. Like I spent a lot of time this year like focusing in on like finishing products rather than like a usage goal or pan goal, and it shows. So, and while I don't think that's a bad thing, like I got my full monies out of a lot of products, I think that's great, but it does mean that other stuff just like sits there and collects dust. So I have been toying around with the idea like behind the scenes of doing like a project X amount of uses with certain items, or I know Jessica Lee started a project pan, I believe like this time last year, and it's pie or pan and everything. And so I've thought about like joining in on that, because I really like the idea of something like that where it's like low pressure, there's like little to no stress with it, and the goal just of hitting pan and then rotating through. And so then, everything looks loved and touched. And so if something were to unfortunately expire or go off or need to be chucked, like at least it had pan on it. That idea just resonates with me. This is not like an introduction video or anything like that to that. I'm still very much just taking this time to like play around with what I have and almost like relearning and rediscovering what I have. And I'm just having fun with that. But I just wanted to let you know, like, those are some thoughts that I have been like kicking around. So, okay, I'm here to just get into the pan though. So no more rambling. Let's just get into it. A lot of these, it's pan because it's been in a project. I don't have a lot of like organic pan in face products. So I think that's kind of interesting too. That again, it's just that like mindset of like use that, and ignore all this other stuff. So the first thing I will show you, a lot of these you've probably seen, but again, it's just nice to see it all right here in one video, right? So the first one is my ABH Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe. I've been working on this like all year, and I'm really happy with like the progress that I have made on this. Granted, I don't really have eyebrows, so I use a lot more product than other people do. But yeah, really happy to have such a good sizable pan or jar showing, if you will. So yeah, that one's been fun. This one I don't believe was in a project. I hit this on my own. So this is the NYX Dark Circle Corrector in the shade Fair. And if I'm not mistaken, they have discontinued this product, which is a crying shame because it's a really nice like under eye, I wouldn't say brightener, but I get like purple, blue, like dark shadow lines. And so this does a really good job of like helping to balance that out and correct it. And then I have like really veiny eyelids, so it helps cover up all of that. But I have managed to like hit pan, and I don't know if you can tell on like camera, but it looks like it's pretty thin on the sides in the jar. So a little bit of this goes a long way. So even though that is quite a sizable, you know, bit of the bottom showing, I don't think I'm anywhere near like finishing this off, which is great because like I said, I love it and I think it's been discontinued. But I have been working on another peachy like under eye corrector just to see how I like that one. So I haven't picked this up in a long time, but definitely this is something that I do want to like finish off. But I am just kind of impressed that I had pan on it. A highlighter. This is probably one of my favorite highlighters, and it takes everything in me. This is kind of ridiculous, but I'm sure we're all like this. So I'm going to admit it to you on the internet. I have pan on it, and it's not, the last time I looked, it's no longer sold on ColourPop's website. However, it's on Ulta's website. So I get this fear that they're going to discontinue it, and I'm like, you need to buy a backup. And it's a Super Shock highlighter. So one, do you really need a backup of a highlighter? No. Two, it's a Super Shock, so it could dry out. And I know you can like rehydrate them and things, but they just never perform quite the same way once you rehydrate them. So I haven't bought the backup. I am like willing myself not to, but I like hit pan in this and I'm like, oh, I'm going to run out of it and they're going to discontinue it and it's going to be so sad. But it won't be. It won't be the end of the world if they do discontinue it. There's still so much product left in here, even with that nice shiny pan showing in your face. So I'm not like in danger of running out of this. It's the shade Smoke and Whistles because I know I didn't say that. But yeah, this is like my absolute most favorite highlighter I think I have in my collection. It is just this perfect like pink champagne color, and it layers so nicely with everything else. Just absolutely love it. So this was in a project as well, I believe. I think it was. I don't think that was like organic pan. I just dropped this, so hopefully it didn't break. The next thing I have is the Bonnie Luminizer from The Balm. And so this is obviously, it's a highlighter, but obviously it's too dark for me. So I use it as a glowy bronzer. I'm pretty proud of that. Like, that's a lot. That's pretty good. This was in a project where the goal was to just hit pan. And so I had crushed out the middle of the product there to franken it with a different bronzer and make the bronzer more glowy. So that was how I like hit pan, was by like crumbling some out. But then you can see like that pan has just grown and grown and grown. I haven't really picked this up in a few months because it's fall, like we're coming into winter, and I'm not like super into a glowy bronzer this time of year, but I have no doubt that like I will pick this back up once it starts like getting warmer in the spring and stuff. But yeah, it's a really pretty highlighter. I think it would be a really pretty eyeshadow too, but it's just too dark for me to use as like an actual highlighter. Okay, this thing I'm pretty proud of. This wasn't a project. This was in my 21 by 2021 that I ended. And I kept saying to you guys, like, I just can't believe I don't have pan already. Like, I know I don't use this all over my face, blah, 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 blah. But I am not kidding. The day after I filmed that video, I sat down and just out of habit, I picked this up to help set my eyeshadow primer and like underneath my eyes. And would you look at that? I hit pan on the Essence All About That matte powder. So I just think that's really funny that there I was like complaining like, where's my pan? And then it was right there. It was just hiding on us. So another face product. I don't really, this is one of those things where it's like, I own it and I will try to use it up, and it's not terrible, but it's not something that I would recommend or that I would repurchase. So happy to at least have gotten pan on it. Like I said, then I don't feel so bad if it were to go off and expire. The next thing you guys have seen, this was my Pan That Face palette, my little blush palette. It's the Profusion Blush 1 palette, and I do have quite nice pan in that Blossom shade. Now, it doesn't, if I'm not mistaken, the weight is not listed on the back of this product. Actually, it is. The net weight of this whole palette is 5.2 grams. So by the time you divide 5.2 grams into 6 like pans, that's not a lot. So this was really easy to hit pan and get such good pan on that product. But I mean, still, I'm proud of myself. It's pan on a blush, and blushes are, even though they are smaller, they are still hard to hit pan in. So, and then this next one is really funny. So I uploaded my last update to my Project 50 pan that I do, and everyone in the comments was like, girl, you got pan in that highlighter. Do you not see it? No, I think it's hilarious. I like used all the makeup that day, pulled it out, filmed the video, rewatched the video while editing it, and then watched it a final time before I like uploaded it to YouTube. I missed that speck of pan the whole time. And then like your comments started flooding in, and I just thought it was hilarious. So either way, I kept using this after I hit pan in it because I wanted to like expand the pan on it. So it's a little bit of a spoiler for that project, but this is what the pan is looking like now in that highlighter. So I'm really happy to have hit that. Again, this was like in a project, so this wasn't like organic, but this is such a pretty like white gold highlighter. Now I will say, so there it is, swatched out. It's really pretty. And again, it's one of those where it layers quite nicely with other highlighters. So I had heard like a lot of people saying like, oh, I have like texture on my face and I feel like this really accentuates like the texture in the pores. And I had never like paid attention to that. And then after I heard people commenting that, I was looking and like, yeah, it does. It really does. Like on camera when I wear it, I don't think it ever looks that bad, but like in real life, you can see how heavy it sits. So I'm not saying I'm getting rid of this palette or anything, but I believe they still sell this. So like if you had your eye on it and were looking at it, like probably, unless you've tried Makeup Revolution highlighters before and you like them, you know, just I wouldn't get it again, even though it's in for a project. It's in the Project 50 pan. The category is a product you're currently loving, so it's kind of funny that my opinion has like changed a little bit on it. But either way, the next thing that I want to show you is this is in my Partners in Cream project pan. So this is my The Balm How About Them Apples palette. I last year panned and completely finished 2 of the blushes, and so then this year when I pulled it in, I had 4 left, and I don't think that any of them had pan on them. So not only have I like finished off 2 more cream blushes within the year, you can see I have pan showing on my last 2. So I'm really proud of myself with this. I can't wait to finish off this palette, not because it's a bad palette. I'm actually going to quite miss this because it's discontinued. But it will just, you know, it's so fun to like finish off products too at the same time. So there's 2 pans of that. And then the last thing I have is I have some depotted like blushes and highlighters to show you. So I'm going to pull them out like one by one. This one doesn't have pan on it now, but I'm still going to count it. So this is like a little peach blush from Ofra. Again, no pan. I had pan on this and hit it this year. And then this, obviously the pan is so small, my brush couldn't pick up like an even amount of product. So I did repress it. So yeah, no pan at this moment, but you can go back through some of my Pan Those Face palette updates and you can see the pan on it there. So that one did have pan on it. Speaking of blushes, I have this ColourPop blush. This was from their Peach collection, I believe. It's in the shade Frisky Business, but I did manage to hit pan on that this year as well. And again, it was in a project pan. So these blushes though, I have noticed like, I really like them. I think they blend out wonderfully. I think the color is really pretty. but they are not that tightly pressed like compared to other blushes. They're kind of powdery, and so it was quite easy to hit pan on this, to be honest. Just in my experience, like this versus other blushes in my collection, like this is just a more loosely packed formula and a little bit softer, so it was a lot easier. So maybe if you are trying to hit pan in a blush and it's taking you forever, if you have one from ColourPop, try that. Like maybe that would give you the motivation of like, ooh, I can do a thing. I can pan a blush, you know? So the last product I have, this is also, you know, this has to be one of my favorite highlighters too. I just absolutely love it. It's the Mary Luminizer from the Balm. I did depot it. I know I didn't swatch out those blushes, but you know what? Highlighters are more fun to look at. I almost said funner. But Mary Luminizer is just such a pretty soft gold highlighter, and it's not one of those, if you like a blinding highlighter, this is not for you, in my opinion. This is very much I just want to go soft and almost kind of natural with my highlight. So I do think it's really pretty and nice though, but just, you know, kind of like know what you're getting into, because I have heard some people say they don't like it because it's not as blinding, but it's not like meant to be, you know. But I am happy that I do have pan on this one. This is a highlighter where honestly, like, again, I'm just trying to figure out within my collection, like, are there things that you need to get rid of that just aren't working for you? Are there things that you want to just have pan on and you're okay with that? Like if you finish it off, it's great. But as long as you hit pan, you're happy. And then what are the items that you actually do want to, you know, that you love so much that you do want to finish off in their entirety? So I'm just having fun like behind the scenes doing that. And I know this whole video has just been a rambling mess. So I appreciate you for sticking around and listening to me. And I hope that you enjoyed just seeing like some of the pan that I have in my collection. And yeah, you know, that's it. That's all I got. So I hope you guys are having a good day or good night or a good whatever, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.